Hello.
Hope everyone is doing well here. My name's Emily, and I have an Etsy shop called Yesterday's Stash. And I have just won a book from it's a website called Poppiness, and she has a Facebook page, and her name is Susan Taylor Brown. And she says here on her card that she does handmade journals and digital papers. And she was doing a celebration and made 5 of these books, these little journals, junk journals, using a lot of eco dyed paper and some twill tape here, and all of this intricate design, of which she has a chat session once a week. And I will look for the one where she was working on these and put it in the description box below. But just amazing work with all sorts of different collaging. She has little flowers here. She has a kind of looks like a string. Some of it looks like it's embroidery floss. Some of it looks like it's brown yarn. This particular one, she had 5 different colors, and the one that I won was the brown book. And then she did some little embroidering in it. You see little smithers, of embroidering. She's got lace interlaid in it. And she's done some small hand stitching, just the regular in and out embroidery stitch. She looks like she's got some candlewick stitching, and the candlewick stitching is just your little knot. We call it the candlewick stitch, but it's called other things as well. And she has some beads intermixed, and it's just all done in a just beautiful collage. And it's just the softest book, and it's the kind of book that you just want to carry around and and stick things in that you don't want to forget, or do things with that you don't want to do things with that you might cherish. And I'm just really pleased that I got this win, that I was one of the 5 winners. This looks like a twill tape that she's using on the side to bind the signature together. This is the center of it. And what's awesome about the book, this is like a damask, different people call this different things. And it's actually, all of this looks like it's hand stitched. There's no machine stitching. She did just the regular I'm not sure what that's called, that kind of stitch. But she did a regular hand stitch around the edges of both of these. Feels like she's got something in between. But I just wanted to show you some of the intricate, neat things that she's got going on here. This is a piece of sari silk around a paper clip, and this looks like it's machine stitched, and it is all different types of, there could be handmade handmade paper in here. It actually could be some birch bark in here, some just regular coffee or tea dyed or stained paper, or paper that has been stamped on, and then using a kind of a tan zigzag stitch, has just got this really interesting tag here. And then you can see here where she did some eco dyeing, and this has really gotten me interested in eco dyeing, and I am looking to see if I can find some things to eco dye. I have done some eco dyeing on my grill out back, and might want to do it again, but I'm in the middle of winter right here on the southeast coast of the States, and so I don't have a whole lot of plants to work with. But just really pretty, just interesting. This kind of has a blue-gray to it. This looks like it's a darker. And then, I don't know, some people are talking about avocado stain dyeing, and it turns the paper pink. I don't know if that's what this is, but it is sort of a pink dyed paper. This is a small envelope made out of a dyed or stained and done some stenciling on it, newsprint, page out of a book with a neat little little tag here and a couple of little things to work with that I can use on some of my projects. This one says, "When it's dark enough, you can see the stars." Ralph Waldo Emerson. So that's interesting. Just some little handmade tidbits here that are just as cute as they can be. A brown butterfly. It looks like this is a tree that has been stamped. Some information about birds from a book, and then pages out of Silas Marner. It looks like maybe this might be photographed paper that she's printed out on a shiny photographed paper. It also looks like it could be used for a postcard. Some more of these papers. This looks like almost a vellum. Really pretty stamp here. And just a lot of fun things. I love variety in my books. And I love when the paper that you stain or do something with turns out into interesting designs. Here's another envelope with some tags stuck in them. Really, really, really neat tags that look really neat. And more here. Goodness. Oh, a couple of cards. Birth of North America, birds of national parks. And some more, looks to be like quotes. I think that she sells quotes on her website. Poppiness, Poppiness. And I did ask her permission to promote this and to talk to you about the pages, because I know that she does a lot of echo dyeing. And I have been following her, and that has kind of inspired me to become interested. This looks like a fern. This could be another type of fern. It could also be an evergreen. I'm not quite sure. I would say probably a fern, but it looks like there's a negative and a positive side, like the other side of the paper. This would be the main side, and then this would be the side, the flip side, where it is still stained, but it's just a little bit lighter. Really interesting color variations. Here we have more Silas Marner pages. And we have here an envelope with all sorts of interesting little tidbits and tags in them that I will go through and use them as, oh my goodness. These are just really interesting, hand cut out of magazines, or, just different types of little, that you could use them as stickers. You could use them as, well, I'm definitely planning on using these in some of my books. This is just really an interesting array of all plants and birds. It looks to be plants and birds, and this is really interesting looking paper here with an interesting design on it. Another one of her pictures, photograph. I would think these would be photographs. So just can't get away from the fact that people are doing some really interesting things with their with junk journals, including not just tea or coffee staining, but doing other sorts of colorations and other sorts of stains. So this book that I won. I thanked her for it so much, and that I was in the that I drew was her. My name was drawn, and I asked her if I could talk about the Echo Dyeing piece and talk about how unique her books are. She is also an author. She wrote a book called Hugging the Rock. It was a notable for library, the Association for Library Service to Children, or by the American Library Association. So it's a young teen book. Interesting. She's got some leaves on there, and her name is Susan Taylor Brown, and her website is Poppiness, and her Etsy shop is Poppiness, and she has a YouTube channel called Susan Taylor Brown. So that has inspired me. So here I am in the middle of winter here in North Carolina, and I've decided that I was going to go out and see what I could find. So I walked. I live in a suburban area, so we have lots of sidewalks and paths and walking places where we can go. And let me start with this Akuba and let you know how that turned out. So I've been keeping this paper in here, keeping it watered and keeping it out on the back porch. But Akuba is very variegated, and what I found was when I tried to, she had a video recently, Susan did, on pounding, leaf pounding. And so she's started the year out doing a variety of things with leaves. And so, of course, I don't have any flowers growing. We are definitely 4 seasons here, although it's, we definitely have 4 seasons here in the Southeast. And so it's, I did decide, well, this might be a good paper to, a good leaf to work with. So I took this and I started working with it, and I came up with several different looks. Let me just get this up. These are some papers. This is the best thing that turned out. What I did was I did it on cotton. This was a cotton tea towel or towel that I used when I was making a lot of masks for people, and I put a panel in between the 2 layers, or did a layering in the seam, and this was one of the layers that could be taken out and washed. So, but this turned out quite good when you take a leaf such as this, and but you can see that when you put it down there, you want to have that. You want to have the different shapes. So I'm at a very new to this, and I realized that this takes a lot of practice. And you can't pound or hammer too hard, and because then it makes, I'm not sure if these indentations here are because of where I pounded. This is something I use, which is a rubber covered mallet, and it did have points on it. I also used a small hammer that had sort of a point on it, and I also found this had this leather roller, and it squeaks, but I had this leather roller from my son-in-law does some leather work, and I did this. I looked at this, and I would use this in covering. So this turned out good. Then, of course, most of what else I have is pine and cedar, this type of thing. I wanted to see if the blue would come out, because this is a blue blue spruce. And, you know, I realized it's probably good that I did practice, because I think that I will need a lot more practice. I probably would want to take these leaves off and make them, you know, individually layered on here. I did work a little bit with actual pine tree, which it smelled good when I was pounding it, but it didn't do its absolute. I mean, again, I just realized that I'm definitely a novice. I found some fern out in a wooded area, but the fern is turning brown, and I think that that dried it up. I tried some nandina, but it too had sort of dried up, and I think that if I were to try it again, I would probably try to get some of the new growth off of the nandina plant. But this, I call it the negative side and the positive side, and that would be where you take, this is an actual where I took, this is what happens after you have pounded on it, and if you, and you need to see, so this wasn't originally, this is was a fresh piece of Akuba when I started, but you can see how it flowed out into the edges and how this wanted to turn black as well. So I don't know if Akuba is the best, and actually it went through all four sides. This is an actual piece of 100% cotton paper that had the decolletage on it. I had done a little bit of coffee staining on it some time back, but just to let you know that that's what you know, that's my next work in progress. I really had some pretty things to come out though. This is the pine, but it's the negative side. The positive side was really too smushed. We call it smushing because I'm pounding too hard in places. I'm not monitoring how I pound, and it is coming out. So anyway, I'm gonna work on it, and I'm gonna get it refined. I'm gonna work on it until I do get it refined. This is an example of some philodendron that was in my house, and this is what came out. Now this is actual paper that has a shiny, it's a that type of paper. I found it at my thrift store, and I thought, oh sure, I should be able to do something with this, but it doesn't print well. It bleeds. The letters bleed. So I don't know. I may be able to continue to play around with it, but these are what philodendron leaves inside my house look like. And this is what, when I took this, being the negative side, and I put it over here, you can see that that's what it looked like. And this was like my second or third time of trying, and you can see how it carried out much further than the leaf, how this bled over so that you're really not getting your shape. Here's an example of a fern, and it turned out good, but it immediately wanted to turn brown. This is a privet berry, another type of evergreen. So you can see that I'm just playing around. I thought this would make a neat tag if I were to add something to it. You know, any of these, I could add something to it and make it into a neat tag, and using this edge here. So that's an example there. And this is an example of where I used plain, just plain pages out of a book, and I did the pounding on that, and you can see you really can't tell what it is. It's obviously an evergreen of some sort, you know, like a grouping of something, you know, similar to this. And, you know, I was able to pound all of the green, the light green out of it. And I don't know where my negative side to that is. And then I worked with these types of, this is the only flower I had in my house, fresh flower. And it's, so when you take a mature, this is a mature, when you take a mature leaf of a poinsettia and you put it down, you notice that this is yellow and then this is red. So the first one that I tried it on was a piece of fabric. And believe it or not, it started out pink and then it turned a purple and now it's gone to really dark green. So when you take, you know, something like this, I did some akuba. I used some akuba and cut it up, put it in a pan and let it boil to see what color the akuba would come out, thinking that it would be green. But believe it or not, it comes out with a yellow, a kind of a mustard color. So you never really know what you're getting when you start dyeing papers. But this is what came out of the akuba dye. So the fabric is dyed in that as well. And then I did have some luck with fern. You can tell it's a fern, but I think I'd had some smushing in here. Maybe I needed to work a little bit on my leaves. It's a work in progress, and I'm excited to you know, have started. Now I have learned a lot. I've learned a lot about pounding and keeping the pounds a little bit not too hard. But here's an example, but I think consistent. Now this is the negative side of, and this is the positive side. The negative side meaning that this is what I put. I put the papers in between, like so, and pounded them. Let's see. Yep, that's the way it's supposed to be. Pounded them. And this, it started out a bright pink, and now it's kind of on the paper, it's turned purplish, but you don't really have anything on the inside. And it is difficult unless you pound right to get the border of the flower. But I think I'm going to preserve this, put some Mod Podge or something on it, and see if I can save that and use it for something. So this is the negative side of a huge piece of a spruce tree, and not spruce, but hemlock. I used some hemlock as well. And I think that you probably could get an evergreen tree. We have deciduous evergreen trees all over the place around here. But I think you probably could get something pretty nice out of that if you really worked on it and tried. So we'll see. I'll continue to work on it. Currently, I am working on a privet. I do have a privet tree out in the yard, and it has a I'm using tracing paper, and take and do your on it, and that's so far that's the stem, and that's how it turned out. And I think it's just a lot of smushing. So I don't know. I think I'm going to go to the flower shop and get a bunch of flowers and play with them now, because I am so trying to to arrest this or get this situation, here is a peace lily leaf that I have worked on that, you know, has turned out like so. This is me trying to not pound so heavily and so hard. And you can see that it comes out pretty light here in the areas where I didn't pound as hard. And also I don't have it all the way up here. So it's a work in progress, and I'm just really enjoying the process. The paper that I'm using here, besides tracing paper, is this watercolor pad, and it's 140 pounds, so it's pretty thick. It's pretty thick paper, but you can tell that it is, you know, pressed paper that is acid-free, that is used. And I found this at my thrift shop for $2, and so I you know, picked it up to see, you know, what I could do with that. So that is my progress, and I'm just really interested in continuing and to see what I can do in this new space I'm in, working on pounding or echo dyeing different papers. So thank you for coming along with me, and we'll hopefully talk again soon.